I'm here on Island Focus today with Karen Knudsen, who is the Senior Advisor to the President at the East-West Center. Thank you so much for being with us, Karen.
Thank you, Lila. It's my pleasure.
It's so nice to see you again, especially because I know you have lots to share about the East-West Center and what we can learn from other countries. Maybe you can explain a little bit more about what you're doing now.
When the U.S. Congress established the East-West Center 60 years ago this year, actually, the idea was to help improve the relations and understanding between the United States and the peoples and cultures of the Asia-Pacific region. That has been our mission forever, and it's more important today, especially as we're all going through this pandemic. Everyone is affected, and we can learn from our neighbors how to adapt, how to adjust, how to help each other.
Or what are you sensing from our neighbors in Asia?
Well, there's a concern. There's also, when you're seeing people and coming together, there is, a serious, but a camaraderie. That's one of the key components of this, knowing we are not in this alone. We might all have different experiences, but it's disconcerting for so many of us. But there is a comfort in knowing that we're facing this together and working toward a specific end. So I think that's one of the most important things we're doing, maintaining our contacts with everyone and getting ideas and encouragement from each other.
And every country, every government, every community is in different stages of recuperation and recovery. What can we learn from them?
Again, looking at best practices, because we can see some governments, the authoritative governments, boom, they can handle it in certain ways. We can also see how governments have taken advantage of the situation to control people, to control media. We are very aware of that. But we've also seen how communities and countries have come together, pulled together to help their neighbors, combine resources and reach out to others, and then even share different good practices that's working in this community. Can it be adapted to your community? So I think there are pros and cons with how people are adjusting to this.
So the role of the East-West Center has always been to bring people together, individuals, groups, leaders.
Right.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
I think the idea is when you have folks coming together from all walks of life, as you mentioned, leaders, students, we bring different perspectives. It's very important to hear from people. When you've shared a meal together, when you've had an opportunity to hear people from their own perspectives, we are able to do things together that is really unimaginable. And I think that's part of the legacy of the East-West Center. You look at the leaders in the region, you look at students and teachers, and they have that commonality of purpose by having come together and really interacted with each other.
And really what I hear you saying is that the peace in the world happens one person at a time, but actually it starts with ourselves first.
It starts with ourselves and being able to see ourselves as part of a broader community and appreciating others and the influence, the great influence they can have on us. So we get out of our own very small focus and really look at others, put ourselves, the empathy of putting ourselves in their shoes, and then realizing together how we can build a better place, a better region, a better country, a better Hawaii.
So what I hear you saying then is part of the resiliency strategy, if you will, is we need to talk with each other. And even though there's physical distancing, especially in Hawaii, we're so close to being with each other that we have to find our ways to do that and keep communicating.
That's where, I've kind of latched on to the idea that Zoom or through different ways of looking at people face to face and seeing people up close, even though we can't physically be in the same room. But probably more people are communicating with their grandparents and with other folks and people across the region. If you've got family in Japan or Thailand, now you can see them. You spend more time looking and spending that face-to-face time with them. We bring colleagues together from, again, throughout the region. They haven't seen each other in years, and now we're seeing each other. And then they're pulling off and having their own meetings. So there is an upside to this in terms of how we're learning to communicate differently until we can actually come together and share that glass of wine or a cup of coffee.
Or the hug.
The hug, I know. That's hard for Hawaii people.
It is. I often get these emails with cartoons in them. And at first I was a little bit irritated because this is such a serious event that we're supposed to be handling. And now I really relish a laugh.
Yes.
And I hear that that's probably from you. I'm getting that just being human again is how we will
I
get
think
through
being
it.
human, and that is something, I don't know if it's uniquely American, but I think that's what's appreciated in the region. We can go in a very difficult, and we find humor, not negative, but well, sometimes a little bit, but I think people need that under times of really deep stress or concern. You need that relief, and it's okay. We're laughing. We need to have that in our lives.
As we wrap up our short conversation today, what message would you like to leave with the audience relative to the future also of the East-West Center?
Well, I think what has seen the East-West Center through all of these years, it is a mission-driven organization, and we've had to make adjustments like every company or business or other institution has had to do. But I think if you have a strong mission and really bringing folks together to break down barriers, to understand so that we can move forward together, cooperatively, not as Americans telling everybody what to do, not as businesses, but working together to find common solutions to issues that affect us. I think there's a bonding there, and it gives us all strength. So I think that's the message of the East-West Center, what we've been able to do and what we will continue to do while making adjustments in our new realities.
And I will take that and translate that to us in Hawaii, that our mission is to get through this with aloha and in a way that we know is important to us and the connections with each other.
Yeah, well, Hawaii's a special place, so yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Karen, and for sharing your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Lila. Thank you.
What a wonderful occasion to speak with Karen Knudsen, the Senior Advisor to the President at the East-West Center. Thank you for joining us.